Imagine that inside your head there is a little kingdom. You cannot see it when you look in the mirror. You cannot touch it with your hands. And yet every day this invisible kingdom helps shape the way you see the world. The choices you make, the things you remember, and even the dreams you dare to chase. In this kingdom there is a very special place called the subconscious mind. It is a little like a gigantic library, a garden and a storyteller all at once. It quietly collects experiences, emotions, memories, habits, and beliefs. Most of the time, it works behind the scenes without asking us for permission. And perhaps this is where the idea of manifestation begins. Manifestation is often described as the process of imagining something you want and bringing it into your life. Some people describe it almost like magic. Think about a dream strongly enough, believe in it, and somehow the universe will make it appear. But there is another kind of magic, one of the science can actually help us understand. It is the magic of what happens inside us when we begin to believe that something is possible, because a thought is not just a tiny sentence floating around in your head. A thought can influence what you notice. What you notice can influence what you do, and what you do repeatedly can become a habit. And your habit can slowly change your life. That is a little less like waving a magic wand and a lot more like planting a seed. The visible garden. Think about a tiny seed. If you hold it in your hand, it does not look like a forest. You cannot look at it and see the branches, the leaves, the birds that might someday sit on them, or the shade it might give to someone. But inside that little seed is a possibility. Your mind is a little like that. A child who repeatedly hears you are terrible at drawing may begin to believe it. Eventually, they might stop drawing altogether, not because their hands were destined to be bad at drawing, but because their belief changed their behavior. Another child might hear, "You can learn, keep practicing." That child may draw badly at first too, but perhaps they keep trying. One day they draw something beautiful. The difference was not that one child possessed magical powers and the other did not. The difference might have been the story they carried inside themselves. This is one reason our beliefs matter. The brain is constantly learning from our experiences. It strengthens some connections between brain cells and changes others. This ability to change and adapt is called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is not a frozen statue. It is more like clay. Every time you practice something, pay attention to something, remember something, or repeat a behavior your brain is learning, you are, in a very real sense, helping to shape your brain. That is extraordinary, and it means that sometimes the most important magic is not getting the world to change for you. It is discovering that you can change too. The secret helper. The subconscious mind is not a tiny person hidden inside your brain. It is a way of describing many mental processes that happen outside our conscious awareness. Think about walking. When you first learned to walk, you probably had to think about every little movement, balance, step, balance again, don't fall. But now most people can walk without thinking about every muscle involved. The brain has learned the pattern. The same thing can happen with many other behaviors. Imagine brushing your teeth every morning. You probably do not need the committee meeting in your brain to decide how to hold a toothbrush, where you move it, or what happens next. Your mind has learned the routine. This is one of the great gifts of the brain. It allows us to automate many things so that we can use our conscious attention for other tasks. But there is a catch. The subconscious can learn helpful patterns and unhelpful patterns. If we repeatedly tell ourselves, "I always fail," our brain might begin to treat that thought as familiar. If we repeatedly think, "I can learn this," even if I cannot do it yet, we create a different mental pattern. That does not mean saying positive words will instantly make every problem disappear. It means that the words we repeatedly tell ourselves can become part of the mental environment in which we make decisions, and environments matter. A flower grows differently in a dark room than it does beneath the sunlight. Our minds need care too. There is something else fascinating about the brain. It cannot pay attention to everything. Imagine walking into a huge room filled with hundreds of sounds, colors, faces, objects, and movements. Your brain has to decide what deserves your attention. This is why attention is so powerful. Suppose you learn about a new kind of red car. Suddenly, you begin noticing red cars everywhere. You might feel as though everyone suddenly bought a red car. But perhaps the world did not change, your attention changed. The cars were already there. You simply began noticing them. This idea helps explain part of what people sometimes experience when they practice manifestation. Imagine someone who desperately wants to become a writer but secretly believes there are no opportunities for them. They might walk through life without noticing writing competitions, courses, communities, books about writing, people who could help them, or small opportunities to practice. Then they begin telling themselves, maybe I can become a writer. They start looking for possibilities. Suddenly, they notice a writing workshop. They see a competition. They meet someone who writes. They begin reading more. They practice. They submit something. They receive feedback. They improve. From the outside, it might look like the universe suddenly opened a magical door, but perhaps the door had been there all along. They simply learned how to see it. There is another beautiful tool we can use, visualization. Visualization means creating a mental picture of something. Athletes sometimes imagine performing a skill before actually doing, and musicians may mentally rehearse music. People preparing for difficult situations may imagine themselves calmly moving through what is coming. Mental rehearsal is not identical to real practice, and imagining something does not guarantee that it will happen. But imagination can help us prepare. Think of your brain as a traveler holding a map. If you imagine where you want to go, you have created a destination, but the map cannot carry you there. You still have to walk. This is an important secret about manifestation. A dream is a direction, not guarantee. If you dream about becoming an astronaut, you still need to learn. If you dream about becoming an artist, you still need to practice. If you dream about having a kinder life, you still need to make kind choices. If you dream about achieving something difficult, there will probably be days when you feel tired, frightened, or disappointed. That does not mean your dream has failed. It means you are human. Sometimes people are told that if something bad happens, it is because they thought negative thoughts. That idea can be cruel. People do not cause every event in their lives simply by thinking about it. Children do not cause illness because they had a frightening thought. Someone does not lose a loved one because they fail to think positively enough. A person does not become unsuccessful because they accidentally imagine failure. Life is much bigger and more complicated than that. There are circumstances we cannot control, there are accidents, there are other people's choices, there are unfair situations, there is luck. There are things we will never understand completely. Real hope does not mean pretending these things do not exist. Real hope means saying I may not control everything that happens, but I can still choose what I do next. That is much stronger kind of magic. Imagine a child sitting in front of a difficult puzzle. I can't do it, they say. Now imagine changing only one word. I can't do it yet. That tiny word creates a doorway, yet means the story is not finished. It does not promise success. It simply leaves room for learning. This is closely connected to the idea often called a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can develop through learning, practice, strategies, and support. Instead of thinking, I'm I'm not good at mathematics, we may say mathematics is difficult for me right now, but I can learn. Instead of I am not brave, we may say I am scared, but I can practice being brave. Instead of I will never achieve my dream, we may say I don't know how I will get there yet. The second vision does something beautiful. It gives the future room to breathe. Every day you speak to yourself, sometimes silently, sometimes through words, sometimes through the way you treat yourself after making a mistake. Imagine two children failing while learning to write bicycle. First says, I'm stupid, I will never learn. The second says, that hurt, I fell, I'll try again. Both children fell, but they created different meanings from the same experience. The second child did not need to pretend that failing was fun. They simply refused to make the fail ending of the story. This is where hope becomes powerful. Hope is not saying nothing bad will ever happen. Hope says even when something difficult happens, there might still be another page. And perhaps that is one of the greatest gifts you can give a developing mind. Not the promise that everything will be easy, but the belief that difficulty does not mean impossibility. If your mind is a garden, what would you like to plant? Maybe courage, maybe curiosity, maybe kindness, maybe patience, maybe creativity, maybe the courage to try again. You do not have to plant everything at once. You can begin with one small thought. I am allowed to learn. Then another, I can make mistakes and still be worthy. Then another, my future is not completely decided yet. There are no magic spells that control reality. They are reminders, and reminders can influence attention. Attention can influence choices. Choices repeated over time can become habits. Habits can shape behavior, and behavior can change the direction of a life. That is the specific kind of magic, slow magic, quiet magic, the kind that sometimes happens so gradually that you do not notice it until one day you look back and realize, I have changed. Perhaps the most beautiful thing about manifestation is not the idea that we can magically summon anything we want. Perhaps it is the invitation to become curious about what happens when we take our dreams seriously. A dream can become a goal can become a plan can become a small action can become a habit, and a habit can become a part of who we are. Imagine a child who dreams of writing a book. They do not write the entire book in one afternoon. They write one sentence, then another, then learn new words, then read another stories, then make mistakes, then rewrite, then keep going. One day they hold a finished book in their hand. Was it magic? Maybe, but not the kind of magic found in fairy tales. It was the magic of thousands of tiny choices. It was imagination becoming action. It was hope surviving difficulty. It was a brain learning. It was a person becoming more capable through practice. And that may be even more wonderful than magic, because it means the story is not controlled entirely by some mysterious force far away. There is something you can participate in. You can choose what you practice. You can choose what you pay attention to. You can question the stories that tell you that you are incapable. You can ask for help. You can learn. You can begin. Again, you can dream. So if you ever close your eyes and imagine the future you would love to have, let yourself dream. Imagine yourself standing somewhere beautiful. Maybe you are doing something you love. Maybe you are helping someone. Maybe you have accomplished something that once seemed impossible. Let that practice inspire you. But then open your eyes, look around, find the smallest step you can take toward the dream, because dreams need feet. They need hands, they need patience, they need practice, they need courage. And sometimes they need a very long time. Don't be afraid if the road looks enormous. The mountain is climbed one step at a time. The forest begins with a seed. A painting begins with a single mark. A story begins with one sentence. And the life can change because of one small decision. So perhaps manifestation is not about convincing the universe to give you everything you want. Perhaps it is about becoming awake to possibility. It is about teaching your attention to notice doors, teaching your mind that mistakes are not endings, teaching your heart to keep a little room for hope, teaching yourself that the person you are today does not have to be the final version of you. There's still so much you can learn, so much you can discover, so many people you have not yet met, so many places you have not yet seen, so many versions of yourself that you have not yet become. The future is not blank page because everything is guaranteed. It is a blank page because not everything has been written yet. And perhaps that is the most magical thing of all. You are holding the pen. You may not control the whole story. You may not choose every storm. You may not know exactly where the road will lead. But you can choose the next sentence. So dream gently, think bravely, learn passionately, act with kindness. When the little voice inside you whisper, I can, smile at it and answer, maybe not yet. Then take one more step. Sometimes that is how magic begins.